Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Time!
Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayler's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, here's Jim Coyle.
Yes, sir. How are we doing today? Glad to be here. Glad to have you along. Appreciate you joining us as hitting it again here on this Thursday. And guess what? Snow's not going anywhere, people. Yeah, it will be here for quite some time because the temperatures they're not going to go anywhere either. Unfortunately, that's okay. We can deal with it, right? No biggie. Now you've gotten through the hardest part. Welcome in. Looking forward to another fun day. Bob Kravitz going to join us today. In addition to Coach Griff, we'll talk some IU football. Matt Taylor is talk some NFL football as the Super Bowl is set. And Indiana basketball, they're doing well. Coming off of a biggest win of for Coach Darren DeVries under his tenure now in his first season here as they knock off a ranked Purdue team. That is, I believe, the fifth time in the last 6 visits that Purdue has brought a ranked team in. And, it used to be the saying, you rank them, we spank them, is what it's what the kids used to like to say there to see them at the Assembly Hall. Picked up with that. Again, with that ranked Purdue team, but I'm not going to crack on Purdue. I think Purdue's a really good team. There's no doubt, but they do not have enough, in my opinion, to beat. They lost Illinois at home, and Michigan is. I can't wait to. I think Michigan, Nebraska, Illinois are all better than Purdue. And I'm only saying this, they cannot win a national championship. I've said this, I said it before the season. They're not a national championship caliber team, I don't believe. They just don't have that dominator. But can Illinois win a national championship? I don't know. They surprised me with that win at Purdue. I'll be honest. I was a little surprised. So that showed a lot. And when you can go on the road and beat a team that's that good in a place that's that hard to play, that's impressive. So, yeah, I'm going to put Illinois there as a team that can win. They got a freshman that scored 42 stinking points on the road. I mean, I remember, you remember what Jalen Hood-Schifino did. Well, this dude went off, and he was a freshman. So probably a one and done there. And Illinois has a ton of foreign players, so we don't know how long that those guys will stick around either. But right now it doesn't matter because they're there now. And you've got Illinois, you've got Michigan State, you've got Michigan that are just pretty wicked good at the top. Can either of them win a national title? Yeah, I think that they can. Doesn't mean the Big Ten's going to, because look at Arizona. Arizona is rolling. They're still undefeated the last time I saw. Nebraska finally loses. Didn't talk about this yesterday as they lost the night before, but it's not like they went into the Chrysler Center in Ann Arbor in Michigan and actually led most of the game until Michigan made enough of a run to come back and get the job done. And they had the nation's longest winning streak, by the way, at the time, at 24 games. So, I didn't think they were going undefeated. No one else did too, with the Big Ten Conference being the way it is, as strong as it is. Last year was not the case. They could have, if this had been last year and they had this team, yeah, maybe. But Michigan is they're number 3, man. That was a tough ask. They lost 75-72. Pretty good battle. And I think, no, this may have been a different team. Someone was out 2 of their top 3 scorers in a game. But Fred Hoiberg said that just proved, hopefully to everybody, most importantly to the guys in the locker room, that we can compete with anybody. Well, they should have already known that, but if they don't, yeah, they do now. And it's fun to see the Big Ten dominating basketball. They have not won a national championship since 2001. Come on, man. Definitely would like to see a Big Ten. Oh, how would that be? See the Big Ten get off the schneid and not only get this monkey off their back with a national championship, but then, hello, Big Ten now the dominant conference in basketball and football. Yes, sir. Hey, appreciate everybody following us no matter where or how you're listening. Whether you're down in Southwest Indiana, 97.7 The Ref, ESPN, all of our good friends. Up in Fort Wayne area, on Fort Wayne's only sports station, 1380 The Fan. The region, the voice of the region, WJLB, 1230 AM, 104.7. All across Chicago there as well, Chicagoland. And out of the home base, WWZN 98.7, The Zone in Bloomington sports station. And if you're in and around Bloomington, make sure you head over to Dave & Buster's. They've always got great specials for everybody. Not just you don't have to be an IU fan or a Purdue fan or anybody. Great place to watch games. They've got these 3 gigantic wall TVs that are just they're as big as you can ask for. And can't miss a thing on those things. Plus, you've got a place for the adults, and the kids can go do whatever they like. Great setup. Man, the snow is not going to go away. That's but once you've got it cleared out, it doesn't really matter. But I had to I should have texted Mike DeCourcy yesterday because he had to shovel snow. I didn't. But then yesterday, actually, I did because they did the thing once, and I'm like, oh my. So I had to go out there and redo it and clear the path. And once I did, I was like, oh wow. We ended up getting probably over 12 inches of snow. I don't know how, 12, 14 maybe. It's weird to look at that it's that deep when you got these paths cleared out. And we already had a 6-inch snowfall before that. No. A lot of talk about the snub of Bill Belichick, and Brian says apparently Bill Polian had something to do with that. No, he did not. That has already been refuted. I mean, it has already been proven. The Hall of Fame has said that, hey, he voted for him. We'll talk more about that. Bob Kravitz, he's always good for a debate. Not that there's much to debate there. Hey, we're looking forward to it. Glad to have you along on this Thursday afternoon. Back with plenty more. Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Right after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on the Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Looking for a place to have fun with the family, friends, or both? Head to Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Dave & Buster's has a wide array of games for everyone, and Sunday is fun day, half off of all games. There are $10 wings, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas for mom and dad watching the IU games on Dave & Buster's giant wall TVs and flat screens. Head out to the new Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Eat, drink, play. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Glad to have Bob Kravitz along for the ride. How are you, Robert?
I'm splendid, man. How are you? Been a while.
Yes, it has. It's been too long. And
Yes,
but I'll tell you where we haven't been is neither of us out on a golf course.
No.
When I think of you, the last time I think of that unbelievably miserably hot day we played.
6 hours, hour round.
Oh my God, it was unbelievably hot.
Yeah,
and now
survival.
we're in the freezer. Now we're in the freezer.
I know. And I have a really bad excuse for not being able to shovel snow because of my heart. So my poor wife had to go out and do it. I'm never going to live this down.
Well, pay somebody else to do it. There you go.
Yeah,
There's got to be kids in the neighborhood, right?
None of them came by. So,
man, I used to make. I remember when I was a kid, and boy, I'm like, it was going to snow. I'm like, oh hell yeah,
money.
Couple of things. First, no school. That's the first thing. I'm like, oh yeah, we don't have to go. And back then, you didn't have to make school back up. You just got out. And I was like, oh, yeah. And this is back. I'm talking back during those blizzards that we had that, we had the anniversary of right now. I hate to give the dates because it tells you how old I am. But,
the blizzard of 76?
I don't know. No, I do not. I was not talking about that one, but it's not far off. I didn't know there was one in 76. I knew there was one in 78 and 79.
Okay.
But yeah, we're really just back-to-back years. It was crazy. But like one of them was like 3 weeks. We were out of school for like 3 weeks.
Wow.
It was glorious.
Yeah,
but anyway,
my daughter is a teacher and she's had 4 snow days off in a row.
Yeah. And the good thing now is though they have the online crap where you can't get away from it. You're like, crap, man. I can't even get away from school at home.
No, it's not fair.
I I didn't have to worry about that. But I would wait. I'm like, oh man, snow, hell yes.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you're off from school. Then I'm like, I'm heading straight. Like next door neighbor was an old woman. Bam, automatic customer. Now, if I was a good lad, I would have done it for free. But I was an entrepreneurial lad.
You were an entrepreneur.
Boom, going out there, she only paid me $2.50 to mow her grass.
Oh man, I definitely have an issue with that.
That was back in the day. And I remember it's so funny. I can remember what I would get paid for some of these. I'm like, are you nuts? And now guys are charging $50 to mow these places.
Oh yeah, that's what we've paid in the past, $50.
It's crazy. But hey, IU basketball picking up and kind of leaning off of in kind of in your piece, your latest piece that you wrote as well. But man, on a night where they were celebrating the Indiana football team, when they brought out the trophy, Kurt Signetti was there sitting courtside, a big Purdue game. You know, they brought Bob Knight returned for a Purdue game, and it didn't help, but Archie Miller kept his team inside like an idiot. But anyway, boy, it must have, I don't know if it carried over or what, but Indiana did what they needed to do in that game to beat a good Purdue team, to shut down a good Braden Smith, keep Fletcher Lawyer in check. And that's all you have to do to beat Purdue. And they did that, but they also had to do their own by scoring, and they did that as well, knocking down their own three-pointers. Played very well. Purdue was horrible from the free throw line, Bob.
Terrible. Well, this is who the Hoosiers are. And you know this, and everybody who's watched them knows this. They're good from the perimeter, and when they're hitting their threes, they're very, very dangerous. And when they're not hitting their threes, they can get beat by anybody because they have no low post presence. They have nobody inside that you can dump the ball into. There's no Trace Jackson Davis. So I'll tell you what, this Nick Dorn, he's averaged 18 points a game the last 3-4 games. And when you have a three-headed monster in your back court, three guys who can handle the ball and shoot, that's a dangerous proposition. So I see some development here.
Yeah, and Tucker DeVries had been struggling a bit. And I don't know if it's because there was no third guy and you know, the pressure was, I don't want to say pressure. It was falling on him. You know, as long as Lamar's doing his deal, but Tucker DeVries still has to be a part of that. And he was kind of struggling.
Yeah, he was
times and not getting it done. And there was no three-headed monster. And so when you don't even have a two-headed monster, you're really in trouble. And we saw what happened. But now that Nick Dorn is starting to develop, like you said, he went through injuries at the beginning of the year and it slowed him down. But has he come on? That probably relieves a lot off of Tucker DeVries and everybody else. So this team, even though this is a short, compact team, Bob, and they're going to have to do it with like an 8-man rotation for the most part. But and that's difficult. But they did against Purdue, and it's doable. They're going to have to do it a couple more times to make the NCAA tournament, though.
Yes, yeah. I mean, one quad one win. I think they're 1-6 now in quad ones. That's obviously not going to be enough, but they're still up there in the net and the Bart Torvik and all the other analytics services. So, you know, they've got a puncher's chance. If they can squeeze out a couple more quad one wins, I think they're in fairly comfortably, but they've got some work to do. One of the things that impressed me the other day was their work on the boards. You know, I mean, Indiana's not a good rebounding team, and I thought they held off Purdue pretty well. I don't know what the final numbers were, but
as far as numbers, as far as what?
Rebounds.
Oh, Indiana got out rebounded a little bit.
Yeah, but what they usually, I would have thought they get out rebounded by 15.
And it was not. No, it was not. They did a good enough job staying close.
Yeah. So that was impressive and a little bit surprising. They were very active.
And I'll tell you, the two Tucker DeVries, think, led Indiana with 10 rebounds. I'll get it pulled back up. And it was daggone it, Lamar Wilkerson. Those two led Indiana in rebounding.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird, but it's a long rebounds, I guess, coming off of 3-point shots for even for Purdue. A lot of their shots were coming from the outside, so you get longer rebounds that way. They did get out-rebounded offensively as well, with Purdue getting a few more offensive rebounds, which that has been a nemesis for this Indiana team. Bob Kravitz with us. You can tell the peeps where they can all follow you, brother.
Go to bobkravitz.substack.com. And I'm writing about once or twice a week, on whatever the hell's going on. Had a lot of fun with football. Wrote a couple of pieces there, and I just bought some IU swag. This is my Indiana hockey hat, but I just bought some IU
find an Indiana hockey hat.
I gave a little money to the Indiana hockey program, not a lot, but a little bit. And I told the guy, I said, I'd love to find an IU hockey hat. I've looked all over for it. And actually, I gave him money. My daughter found it for me through the hockey program. And so sweatshirt, Indiana hockey.
Now, how is that program? Is it still? It's still going, and
it's still going. It's just a club, Unfortunately, they don't have a big time rink to play in. They play at the Frank Southern Center. I don't know if they've changed that, but it's the rink down by Bloomington South. And when we used to play, we'd play at 11 o'clock at night on Fridays and Saturdays, and one side of the building was open air, so it was like 10 below zero in there. And
where the hell was this?
This is at Frank Southern Center.
Where is that? I'm not familiar with it.
At Bloomington South. It's a hockey rink.
At Bloomington South?
Yeah, right by Bloomington South.
I did not know they had a hockey rink.
Yeah. So, that's where we played.
Wow. What else do they use it for? Just people to come in and ice skate?
Yeah, figure skating, stick and puck.
Is there a lot of that? A lot of figure skating going on?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and just general skates, and people come in, just go skating. Yeah, check it out. I'd like to see you on some skates, Jim Coyle.
No, boy, I did that one time.
Yeah, bad?
One time. I've got really bad ankles
from
playing sports, just tore them up too many times. And I was like, oh, man, this is not going to be fun. And it was not fun. But I'm sure it is if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I've never heard of that, man.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Ice rink in Bloomington.
Yeah. Now, Oklahoma State just built a new rink for their hockey club, and they're going to go Division I next year.
Oklahoma State's
got a hockey team. Indiana still has a club. So we need Mark Cuban to give us about $100 million so we can build a rink and start a program.
Yeah, in this day and age of college athletics, it's going to be difficult to get new programs like that going.
It's not going to happen as much as I wish and pray.
Indiana basketball also picking up a big-time recruit, Bob, a new commitment, 6'7" small forward from North Carolina. Picked the Hoosiers over, I think, Louisville and a few others, but that's their third commitment. This kid is reclassifying. He was actually in the 2027 class, but he's going to move up and come in for the 2026 class. So that gives DeVries three top recruits coming in. And now we'll have to see what he can get done with the transfer portal, because you cannot build a team on freshmen.
Right.
And we saw, I mean, I hate to use football as the example, but production over potential, man. It is just a mantra that it works.
Get old, stay old. As Matt Painter often says, get old and stay old.
True to that. And Indiana had a very old football team, and right
Yeah.
now they have it's a good. The basketball team's a pretty
Yeah.
good mix, I would say.
I like what Darren DeVries is doing. Look, they haven't won too many signature games except for the win the other night over Purdue. But I like the style of basketball. It's much more 21st century. It's not the same old crap with Mike and Archie. I think the style of play is much more aesthetically pleasing, and and he's done a good job in the recruiting. Three, 4 stars. I mean, we shouldn't get all bent out of shape about number of stars, as we learned from football, where a bunch of 2 stars went and won the national title. But that tells you they have some talent.
Yeah, without question. Now they've got to get a little bigger,
Yes.
and so they can deal with the middle, and that's probably going to have to come from the portal.
Probably so.
And actually, it does have to come from the portal. You need somebody that's experienced that you can plug and play right now,
Right.
because you're going to have all the way around. Boom. Once you rotate through the after the season and the guys leave, you've got to have. I'm not judging him. I like what they're doing right now as well. I agree with you. I'm not judging this season. They're not. They don't have the team that they don't have the pieces that they need in completion. I don't know why. I can't answer that question. I don't know, if Darren was not able to get them or if they were not able to afford them. One of the two. I don't know which. Now, if they couldn't afford them, well, you can't judge on that. If you couldn't get them, why?
Yeah. I don't know. To me, this is kind of a gap year for Indiana.
I love that, and I read that, and I love that term.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a gap year. He's got some runway into next year. I mean, I'm sure there's pressure on with what Signetti has done with the football program. It's like, all right, man, it's year 2. How about a national championship? I mean, that's just not realistic. But there's no reason why this team can't start competing for Big Ten titles within 2-3 years. I mean, the game has changed. You can upend your roster in a matter of minutes. It's not like a football team where you've got so many kids. I mean, 1 or 2 players can make all the difference. So, we'll see. I mean, certainly they've done pretty good in the recruiting side.
No doubt, man. No doubt. And if they can get basketball going, Indiana fans will just be beside themselves. I mean, football was always something that you got through.
Right.
It was just something that bided your time until basketball started.
Right.
Well, now I'll be honest with you. Now I went through so many days without even talking about basketball while the season was going on.
I'll bet.
And it wasn't with purpose to slight basketball, but when football is doing that well and just dominating so many different conversations, and with so many ways, there's no way to not do it. And it's still, obviously you went to IU, but you have covered IU. You've not covered IU. You've covered other places professionally, collegiately, been to different cities, Denver. I don't even know where all you've been. But you've just been a journalist. And this turnaround, as we've talked about, it's so hard to wrap your mind around.
It is.
And especially as long as you have the all of the information and you're not an ignorant person and think that Indiana went out and bought a team. That ain't what happened.
No.
That is not what happened. And that is what makes this so amazing. Kurt Signetti, I mean, I don't want to make him sound like the greatest thing since sliced bread, but this is all Kurt Signetti and what he and his process, his coaches, his everything. But it starts and ends with a guy who had been all of those years of doing it wherever he was doing it, but not not in the limelight and not like this, and all of a sudden goes to a place where it could not happen, it would not happen, it was impossible to happen, but it happened.
I know, and I can't say it any better than that. It was funny, I try to maintain, fairly cool objectivity when I'm watching games of teams that I cover. No chance the other night. No chance. That night of the game against Miami, my wife and I were on the couch screaming, and then I had to sit down like a real journalist and write a column. But I had no problem giving up my objectivity for one night. It was this is the greatest coaching job I can think of. Forget about college football, in any sport that I can ever recall. I'm sure there are examples in international soccer or whatever, but to go in and completely change the culture of a team that's been losing for 100 years is just astonishing.
And it's astonishing because of who he did it with.
Right.
Guys, everyone wants to talk about the 13 guys that came from James Madison. Okay. Those guys they were FCS players.
Mm-hmm.
FCS players.
Right.
So the people that they went out and bought a team.
Yeah.
No.
These guys were available to everybody and not very expensive at that.
Curtis Rourke came from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Not even Miami of Ohio.
Right.
Ohio. And then even Fernando Mendoza. I promise you, I would love if there was a list of what quarterbacks were paid last year in the in NCAA. I would bet you he's not in the top 15.
Well, I don't know if this is right or not, but what I read was $2 million.
Yes, that's what I am. Right around there. Most guys were getting 3 to 4.
Yeah. Well, whatever he was getting, he was underpaid because.
But he's going to more than make up for it. But I think that he knew that. I think that Josh Hoover knows that.
Yes.
I'm not going to say Josh Hoover came here for $2 million, but I'm not sure that he is making more than he did at TCU, which, oh boy, you mentioned any team from Texas, you're like, whoops, they got
money.
They got oil money. Every damn team in Texas got money. And this is not just any quarterback. This is a dude that has thrown for over 9,000 yards. So, but he didn't come here for money.
No.
I guarantee you he came to Indiana to get the tutelage that Curtis Rourke got, that Fernando Mendoza got, because he saw what both of those guys are. Curtis Rourke is on an NFL roster with the San Francisco 49ers.
Right. And, no, I mean, and Chandler Whitmer and Mike Shanahan, and these guys have all been together forever. They've got a system set up and it's self-sustaining. And, I'm sure Hoover, money was part of it, but it's not like Indiana outbid Georgia or anything, So I think you look at the history, Cignetti's history, and every quarterback who plays for him ends up winning Player of the Year, Heisman Trophy, all league, all world. I mean, every single guy who's played for him has done that.
I mean, even before he got here, his quarterbacks were winning.
That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, he is he's going to be known as the I don't want to call him there. Yeah, exactly. And that's the truth. That's the truth. And boy, when Fernando's going to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, and Indiana has never had that. That is really special for any team.
Right.
He's going to go play for Tom Brady and the Las Vegas Raiders,
Yeah,
who don't
God
even have a
knows.
coach right now.
They don't have a coach. He was funny. Mendoza the other day, he was asked about the Raiders, and he just comes out with this cookie cutter answer. Well, they've got a great front office and great players, and they got a great coach. And I'm like, Fernando, they don't have a coach. They don't have one.
Yeah, he's always ready with the nice
Response.
answers.
Yeah,
There you go. Yep. And but you know what? He's trying, so he knows
trying.
he's going to have to deal with that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the balance of what that does to Indiana. That's going to help them continue to propagate, continue to make this program what it is. I mean, as soon as the night of the championship, they were already made a co-favorite to run it back and win again. And they're ranked.
It wouldn't surprise me if they're in the CFP again next year.
Oh, surprise! I'm going to be surprised if they're not.
Yeah.
And another thing, Bob, because of this high ranking already, they're already ranked. So that plays a huge difference. I mean, it's not that you can't come from outside. Indiana just did, but what I think that helps them in the long run in voting.
No doubt, and no doubt it helps that Carter Smith is back, Bray Lynch is back, Charlie Becker's back. You can go down the list, and some of these kids in the portal. Look, I haven't seen many of them. I've seen the Marsh kid from Michigan State. He looks like a stud. He's like 6'3", 215. So they've got a lot of promising talent coming in.
No doubt, buddy. What's up next for you?
Probably do some on the Pacers coming up here, and IU's out of town for a while. And gosh, I'm not sure. I'm day to day, Jim.
See, you can do that. And that's great. Yeah, Indiana basketball on a West Coast swing now.
Yeah,
and UCLA that's Pauley Pavilion, tough place to play. Purdue, that's where Purdue's current losing streak started, and I watched that game, and it was a battle. It was a fist fight. But USC also playing kind of well. So if they could split that series, that would be a win to me.
Yeah. There's something going on with that team right now, and I have enough faith in Painter to believe they'll get out of this and go on a run. But something is missing. I don't know what it is. People always want to bitch and moan about Fletcher Lawyer. I think he's a hell of a player. I don't know. They're at kind of an inflection point in their season.
Yeah, and the thing with Purdue is Trey Kaufman-Wren is a talented player. He led them in scoring the other night, but he's working his butt off to do that. And Indiana doesn't really have a guy in the middle that could defend him really well.
Right.
Most teams do. And to me, that's a tough thing for Purdue, because then you shut down one of those guards, you got a pretty good chance of winning the game. And but that's been the milieu for Purdue for a while. If you shut those guards down, boom. And so that's why I have thought that they just don't have a chance to win a national championship, because I think that you're definitely going to find someone that can do that, and that Trey Kaufman-Wren cannot dominate the middle at when you get up to that level.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And so going forward, who do you see winning the Big Ten?
Boy, Nebraska. I watched the Nebraska-Michigan game.
First of all, how about Nebraska?
How about them? What a great story. I think Michigan is probably going to win the Big Ten over Nebraska. Michigan State will be there, obviously. Who am I forgetting?
Michigan State. They've still been hanging around. They're Illinois. Illinois just went to Purdue and won at Mackey. I mean, that's a tough place to win, man.
Yeah, that Wagler kid went nuts.
Oh, freshman. Dude's a freshman. And he's not even the guy on their team that I was thinking. You've got both Ivisic brothers, Stojakovic on that team, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy?
Right.
So Brad Underwood has done an unbelievable coaching job at Illinois, rebuilding those teams. He does it year after year because they use a lot. Morez Johnson, who was a great freshman for them last year, is playing for Michigan now, and he's a big part of what Michigan does.
Mm-hmm. Hang on 1 second. I'm checking.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough to see, but I agree that Michigan is the best. Well, I hate to say the best. I see them winning.
Yeah, I do too. They're the best team I've seen, and I go back to early in the season when they're blowing people out. Really good competition by 30, 35 points. I think their high end, their ceiling is higher than just about anybody else's in the Big Ten.
As a matter of fact, could we see 2 number 1 seeds out of the Big Ten with Michigan and Nebraska?
It is entirely possible. Entirely possible.
All right. I mean, right now the conference is, you've got, was it 1, 2, or 3? 3 teams, 9-1.
Right.
Illinois is 8-1. So you've got 4 teams with just 1 loss.
Yeah.
This deep into the conference play. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a top heavy Big Ten, but they got some talent at the top.
And I guess the biggest surprise, Oregon, they suck. They're 1-9 in the conference. Yeah. It's very surprising. All right, buddy. We'll let you go. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Sounds good. You be well.
Absolutely. Bob Kravitz joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and as always, a pleasure. We've got lots more coming up. Back with it and more right after we take a pause for the cause.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Looking for a place to have fun with the family, friends, or both? Head to Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Dave & Buster's has a wide array of games for everyone, and Sunday is fun day, half off of all games. There are $10 wings, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas for mom and dad watching the IU games on Dave & Buster's giant wall TVs and flat screens. Head out to the new Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Eat, drink, play. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on the Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Glad to have you along. It is still cold out there, and that's not going to change anytime soon. Coach Griff joining me now. What is it? 1 degree. A lonely single degree. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's not. That hadn't changed. Around 21 degrees here in the afternoon. Going to get a high of 24. That's it, baby. And heading back down. No, it doesn't hit 0. So, but it's not going to get warm anytime soon. It could go
goes snowing out in the yard, Bill, although where they move all the snow, you could get a good bank off of that, boy. Woof, get going. If you could find a downhill with the top of that would let you roll.
I'll prefer to stay inside.
Yeah, you and me both. But I remember as a kid, man, couldn't wait. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
Bundle up and go out there, and it was on.
Oh, yeah.
I remember there was a big hill at a golf course. It was a flood wall. The guys brought the hood of a car once.
Oh, wow.
Yes. That's the ultimate slide down. Man.
Yeah, that's when
College
we didn't care about frostbite or anything of that nature.
No such a thing. Kids have different body temperatures, man. It's like I see them go into if you go to the ocean in the spring and the water's still frigid.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Kids are in it.
Matter.
Doesn't matter. They have no body temperature. And I'm like, oh, you couldn't pay me to walk in there. Man, craziness. Indiana hosting another wave of blue chippers. They've got a lot of people thinking highly of this football team, and the recruiting is going to really ramp up as far as talent level.
Mm-hmm.
And now the question becomes, how good can Indiana be with an increased level in talent? And I know that, the type of person they bring in is always important, and obviously they know what they're doing. Man, I'm just trying to wrap my head around a team that has even more talent. Doesn't mean you're always going to win, because everyone still has to do what they are supposed to do when they're supposed to do it,
right?
How you're supposed to do it. And but with more talent, you would think that happens more frequently. So,
yeah, the recruiting game is still about the evaluation, regardless of stars. And we've seen that play out in front of us as Indiana was completely, every game in the national playoffs, they were going against 4 and 5 stars when they didn't have that many for Indiana. It still comes down to the evaluation of a kid's ability. I don't think that'll get lost with SIG. Yes, they'll have opportunities to recruit, the guys that are kind of what I call the no doubters, the guys that bop off the screen at you, and more so now than they've ever have been. And they'll find a way to, sift through it all and get the right kid that fits what they want at Indiana. And not everyone fits Indiana. That's the thing. Not every 5-star, 4-star that walks through the hallways of Indiana's stadium is going to be a fit for Indiana. And that's the biggest thing that you have to sift through. And I think that's the one thing that this staff and Signetti do quite well, is the being able to project a kid's ability in terms of what they want and what they do, regardless of he's a 5-star or 3-star, whatever that may be. Because as we've seen, some of their best players have been guys that have had no stars, for that matter of fact, or they're very undervalued recruits. But you're correct. The talent level for sure is going to be different for them to be able to go up and recruit against the Ohio States, the Michigans, all those schools by just winning the national championship, something that, nobody thought would ever be accomplished at Indiana, especially within the time period that it has been done.
The Senior Bowl practices for the 2026 NFL draft happening. According to what I'm reading, defensive backs were expected to be one of the strongest position groups down in Mobile, Alabama. Where is the game actually this Saturday?
I believe so, but don't quote me on that because I haven't seen the actual promo for when the game is. I've watched some of it via the NFL Network. I know Kalon Black is there. I didn't
realize they go through all this. It's a semi it's basically a semi combine for the guys basically that are probably not going to the combine, or some of these guys actually going to the combine.
Yeah, there'll be some that will go to the combine. It's really good for those guys that maybe are what they would say mid-rounders to possibly improve their draft stock. So I know Diego Pavia is there, and it would be important for him because of his height to go there and perform well, to show that his height is not an issue when you talk about NFL-sized people running around you. And he's done. I mean, he has what I saw of him, he did quite well. So there's a possibility that he improves his position.
He can damn sure hit. How about that hit he put on the tight end for Miami in that championship game? No doubt about that. Just looking at, I'm trying to see if they're listing some of the standouts, but I'll have to go through that later on. But yeah, I didn't realize they did all that for the Senior Bowl. I thought it was just a game. They would practice, get ready, but no, wow.
Yeah, it's a good week and a half type of scenario that they go through with them to put them through the NFL type of, practices and stuff, and usually ran by NFL coaches too. So that gives them hands-on experience with guys. And it's a very well attended event, both from the NFL perspective and the college perspective for that matter.
I will say this. I saw the other day that Diego Pavia, they listed him as 6 foot all year for Vanderbilt, which we all knew was kind of funny when we saw the pictures of the Heisman Trophy presentation, and you've got this guy up here, and Fernando is 6'5", and the other guys are 6'1", and then whoop, oh wow, there he is. He's 5'9",
7'8"
plus, or 5'9" something.
5'9" and 7'8".
Good luck with that in the NFL.
Well, that's what I was referencing for him. This would be an important event, and he's there and done quite well, like I said. But I don't know how many Indiana guys are there because their season went so long. Sometimes guys will drop out because, like for Indiana or even for Miami, that for that matter, they have gone for 16 straight games, and them jumping in the this game down there in Mobile is not always the right thing to do per se, but Kalon Black decided it was good for him. So he's down there, showing his stuff, and probably important for him to do that.
Well, important. It's a necessity. I mean, he's got a lot to overcome. I mean, who's going to draft a 5'9" quarterback? One that acted like he acted.
Yeah.
Don't forget his shenanigans. I mean, after losing the Heisman Trophy by a overwhelming number, acted like a baby.
Well, yeah, those were what the interviews for, but outside of him, I was saying Kalon Black, Indiana's running back, went down there, even though most Indiana and Miami kids did not decide to go because of how far they played. But for Black, it's probably an important game for him to go show his talent and what he's about to those NFL coaches to help improve his draft stock potentially. And he's a hard runner, got decent speed, and I think he's a guy that I'm sure there'll be some team out there that'll have interest in him.
Yeah, man, he was one of my favorites. I loved watching that dude run, but so did everybody else. But running backs, unfortunately, are a dime a dozen. And I don't mean it that way, but the life expectancy for a running back in the NFL is about 3 to 4 years. And they get beat up, but he runs like an NFL back. The dude runs. He's got just great. And I hopefully he'll get pulled in. But you've got so many others. The defensive line guys for Indiana, whether you're talking about Mikhail Kamara or you're talking about a linebacker and Aiden Fisher. But what about Lewis Moore? Dude had a good year. He was sneaky back there. Led Indiana with 6 interceptions.
I think he may have also went down to. You'd have to look at the rosters and stuff, but I thought I saw something that he was also there competing. And again, those guys that need more eyes on them to evaluate their abilities, the better. And but yeah, Lewis Moore, you got him, of course. You know, whatever Pons decides to do, I don't think he's there though. But he's another guy that will have to overcome some question marks about his size. And you do that by showing what you can do. But, you know, we know what he can do. I mean, it's amazing.
The guys that are, it's amazing the guys that are there, Coach. Luke Altmaier from Illinois, Taylor Green from Arkansas, Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt, Cole Payton, North Dakota State, Sawyer Robertson of Baylor. And then there is a long list of running backs as I'm looking through there. Now this may be one side because Kalon Black is not listed on this. How is it? Is it east, west, north, south? How they do this?
I think this one is a north-south game because the east-west game is out in California, and that's where I know Nowakowski's going.
I do see. Well, I see Elijah Surratt on this list. I don't know why Kalon Black is not listed under the running backs, but he's not on this particular list that I can see. But Elijah Surratt is listed here as one of the wide receivers, and there are a lot of them. I mean, man, when you got that many guys, how the hell you? It's going to be really difficult to show any of them off.
Yeah, that's where you got to fall back on, you know, the seasons that they've had, like Elijah's had, and who he's gone up against and what he's done in game action. And, you know, I'd say he's pretty well set. I don't know if he's a first or second rounder, but you got to think that his draft stock is pretty solid.
Let's take a quick break, though, and we'll come back and talk more about it. Coach is with us. Senior Bowl is coming up. A lot of Indiana guys there. We'll talk about that and much, much more right after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on the Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Looking for a place to have fun with the family, friends, or both? Head to Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Dave & Buster's has a wide array of games for everyone, and Sunday is fun day, half off of all games. There are $10 wings, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas from mom and dad watching the IU games on Dave & Buster's giant wall TVs and flat screens. Head out to the new Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Eat, drink, play. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Jim Coyle with you as always. Appreciate you being with us. Coach Griff joining me now, and was talking about the Senior Bowl that is getting ready to happen. Some of the IU players that are down there preparing for that. Elijah Surratt, one of those. So I'm trying to go through the list here. Oh, that's on the offensive line now. Man, looking down through there. For Indiana players, I thought that there would be more than this, unless they're on possibly different teams.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's the definite possibility. I'm looking at the interior defensive line. Indiana didn't lose a lot there. I mean, I know they lost Mikel Kamara. And so I'm not seeing a lot listed, which is, I know that there are more there than.
Yeah, I doubt like somebody like Stephen Daly is probably not able to compete, or Kalen Wyatt.
Oh, no, he's not. He's not recovered.
So those are the two guys that you would expect to be there if they were healthy in that respect.
Yeah, just looking that through, I'm surprised, unless I haven't gotten to the other side, the other team. So I'm wondering if they are split up. Be curious. But, yeah, the Senior Bowl now, though, has become one of those things that is used. It started to lose a luster. They couldn't get to players, and the guys were doing this and prep. Now they have wisely incorporated this into kind of a pre-combine combine, I guess you'd say, right, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's an important aspect of a kid's journey potentially to the draft, because of, you're going up against the talented kids, of course, guys that are NFL possibilities, and you get an opportunity to go show what you're capable of. And like I said, it can help improve a kid's draft stock pretty, I would say significantly for some. Now, some it may hurt just because, there may be a lot of hype around them and they don't perform as well. Those are always a possibility, but you got to say that it's a definitely important aspect of a kid's journey to the NFL.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big selling point for Indiana this year, is you're going to see a lot more players' names called on draft day or draft days, highlighted by Fernando Mendoza going first. But who do you think is the second Indiana player that goes off the board?
Second player.
Good question, huh?
Yeah.
It's hard to answer because, first of all, you have to know what team needs what.
Yeah. I'm going to say, I mean, I think he's a high draft pick, but I do think Pons would probably be my second choice off of this roster, just because of what he is athletically and, kind of what he was able to put together for 2 straight years. So that kind of says to me, he's probably that next guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. See, they call it the national team, and what's the other one? I got to get down to it. I don't know. The American. Got the American and the national team.
Yeah.
So there's that. Now, this is a complete list. Kalon Black is on the first running back listed. Maybe this is alphabetical, it looks like. But he's still he's the running back listed for the American team, whose quarterbacks are Luke Altmaier, Kalen Green, and Garrett Nussmeier. Let's see, go down through there, see if I see any more Indianas. And I don't at this time. I'm surprised. I thought that there were more guys going there, but a lot of times agents dictate what guys do. Coach, don't do this. A lot of guys don't work out for teams,
Right.
and so
Yeah, there's some guys that have already gone down to Florida to start working out for the combine and things of that nature. Maybe that didn't get invited to one of the all-star games. Like I said, outside of this one, you have the East-West game out in California that used to be the bigger one probably than this one that's going on now. But yeah, I do think you'll see some Indiana guys out at the East-West Shrine game because it's a little later. I think it's next week or the week after that. So it'll be a much better setup for them in that respect to go to that type of combine.
Or some of these guys, like I said, I don't see someone like Aiden Fisher. He's not listed here, so he is just focusing on the combine. And but you have to have an invite to the combine, correct?
Yeah, they do have to have an invite because Indiana, even Purdue kids, because they're so close in proximity, it really doesn't cost that much to bring those type of guys in, especially if they're a draftable kid. So you'll see a lot more of those guys in some respects than you would, a kid that comes from way out to get there. But I would expect to see guys like Aiden Fisher there and Hemby and, D'Angelo. So there'll be quite a bit, but I think it's fairly safe to say that Indiana will be well represented. Now, how many guys they get drafted will, who knows? But you got to figure that they'll have at least 2 or 3 there in the first couple rounds.
Yeah, and all of that. And then you're going to have a lot of guys that are unrestricted free or undrafted free agents.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one that I think went that route. Did Curtis Rourke get drafted late?
He did get drafted. He got drafted late.
Like a 6th round or something.
Yeah, he was like a 6th rounder.
But he's on a roster. So
yeah,
he's like the 3rd quarterback for the 49ers. Great job to have.
Oh,
That's a great job to have, man.
Yeah, and the 49ers did him a solid because remember, he wasn't ready to go when camp started. So he's been on their not able to perform or whatever they put him on. They could have just outright released him when he came to the fact that he wasn't going to be able to participate this year. But yeah, he's and they think pretty highly of him. I think they think pretty highly of him. So I think he'll get a good opportunity this year to be able to show what he can do, and hopefully it'll equate to him, making his way to the field at some point.
Yeah, D'Angelo Pons, I saw that Mel Kiper Jr. had him listed as the 5th DB on the board. And talked about this. DBs are kind of a premium in the NFL, and he's shown that he can hit and he can cover. He's a blanket. Yes, the size it will hurt him some, but he's such a good defender that he does things that doesn't matter that a 6'4" guy couldn't do, I think.
Yeah, and that's what I say when you think about D'Angelo. You got to put all of his years playing on tape because he's going to get knocked for his size. He has no control over that. I mean, he has no control over the size thing. Now, what he always has control over is his ability to go out and play the game. And I think he's proven in 2 years that he's a pretty darn good cover corner that can play man or zone, even though they may be outmatched when it comes to kids, size and things of that nature.
Yeah, and we'll see what does Indiana do in the transfer portal. They've done a pretty daggone good job so far. I mean, I think that I talked earlier, they have upgraded all of their talent. We'll see how Josh Hoover does with the new guys. His entire team is going to be new to him, but
Right.
man, he's got the weapons. He'll have the line. He's just he's seen these other quarterbacks step into this situation and just thrive. And I think that he might just start off thriving. Fernando, it took him a game or so to really get comfortable. Did not throw a touchdown pass in his first game, and but I think Hoover is one of those guys that can just step in and go.
Yeah, tonight on the tailgate, I'm going to break down Hoover and Turbo Richards in a series that I'm going to do for the next couple of weeks of taking the guys that Indiana's picked up in the portal and talk about them because, I think Indiana's done quite well in the portal this year. I think in some services they've got them ranked as the number one rated team as it pertains to portal pickups. But we're going to look at Hoover and Turbo Richards, but Hoover's a pure passer. I mean, he is flawless in his mechanics, his delivery, everything. He's just a very smooth kid, and it's proven that he can throw the football. Now, the biggest challenge would be he's coming out of a Kendall Brile system where it was more throw first, run second mentality. He did have 33 interceptions in his 3-year starting career, which to me is a little high, which draws some concern in that arena. But overall, his talent is undeniable.
Yeah, no question. I mean, he comes in as the quarterback with the most yardage thrown at over 9,000 yards.
Yeah,
that's a lot of yards, man. And I know yards it doesn't mean everything, but it means a lot. It means that you're connecting with receivers. So I'm sure there's some great catches along the way, no doubt, but you're also throwing a lot of good balls, and you're throwing a lot of balls. And now you're going to come to a place that may offer you a little bit better protection, better running backs room, and better receivers, just more talent. So I just see him thriving. My question is going to be, can they get the defense and maintain it to the level they were last year? Because while the offense was staggering, the defense was suffocating.
Yeah. Well, I do think they've replenished some of what they needed up front in the defensive line. They got the 2 guys from Kansas State and the one kid from Notre Dame. So I think those 3 will be added players in the kind of in the stable type of thing. I like what they've got returning, of course. Linebacker, I think, honestly, pretty good when you've got, Isaiah Jones and Hardy both back. And we've seen those kids perform over the last couple of years. And now they're going to miss Aiden Fisher. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you don't necessarily replace an Aiden Fisher. And just like they're going to miss D'Angelo Ponce. Those guys, it's hard to replace. But I do think they've got some kids that are in the midst of stepping in and stepping up and showing what they can do. We kind of got that answer with Becker this year towards the end of the year. What was going to happen when Surratt left? Is Charlie Becker a great replacement for either him or Omar Cooper? I think that's a resounding yes, by the way that kid's played the latter part of the season. So, I do think they'll be able to put themselves in a great position to have the talent they need and then be able to utilize what they've got in their system. The kids that are that are biding their time and, been here for a couple of years in the system. And, they're going to need everybody, of course. That's the Big Ten did no favors for Indiana in their scheduling this year. Let's just put it that way. They got it's a tough schedule, but I think that's the way it is in the Big Ten anyway. Regardless of who you see lining up against you, I think it's a pretty tough league now that we've got some teams that are going to be pretty darn good.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the schedule as it was been released in the next segment. But it's going to be fun. But we'll talk about it because Can't make predictions, but why not? You can play, just keep playing, kind of play around as we'll go through that and go through the games. But an interesting schedule that used to be, you just look at it and just go, well, there's a loss, and there's a loss.
Yeah.
Now you're going, there's a win, there's a win, there's a win, there's a win. How about, I mean, it's crazy to do that. And I will, without getting too much into it now, because I want to save it for the next segment, but I kind of wish they weren't playing Ohio State, because if they end up being the top two teams again, I'd rather that they met for the conference championship, having not played. And boy, and with 18 teams, you would think that would be more of a frequent thing than infrequent, but it's going to probably happen 2 years in a row if that ends up being the case. A lot of expectations for Oregon because they're revamping as well. You look at the quarterbacks room. You got Dante Moore back and Dylan Raiola as a backup, which I see him as a really, really good backup. But what's he going to be like the year after that? Because he finally wised up and went to a place to get to learn. You have got to take your hat off to a guy that has been a 2-year starter and transfers to a place where he knows he's going to sit out behind the starter.
Yeah. Well, Dante Moore did that. Very same thing. He transferred from USC and sat for a couple of years as their backup, and then he's equated into his starting position. Raiola will be interesting because the kid was thrown to the wolves as he got to Nebraska. I mean, there's just no question that he was rushed along, and I think it hurt him more than it helped him. And I think he's probably getting paid a pretty good stipend to come be that backup guy. And under some, they lose Will Stein, though. And I think that had a lot to do with the developments of those quarterbacks. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes now that Will Stein's at Kentucky.
Well, we'll talk about all of that and more on the other side when we're back with it. Jim Coyle here with you, and I've got Coach Griff. We're talking about a lot of different things, but right now we're going to talk about that schedule that came out for Indiana football. Indiana basketball heading west after a huge win over Purdue to keep their tournament hopes alive. Back with plenty more. Matt Taylor's going to join us later on. We'll talk about the Super Bowl. It's set as well. Stay tuned. Back with more right after this quick break.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Looking for a place to have fun with the family, friends, or both? Head to Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Dave & Buster's has a wide array of games for everyone, and Sunday is Fun Day, half off of all games. There are $10 wings, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas for mom and dad watching the IU games on Dave & Buster's giant wall TVs and flat screens. Head out to the new Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Eat, drink, play. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on the Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle with you, as always, on this Thursday. Yeah, it's cold. 24 degrees, about all you're going to see today. I'm trying to stay inside as much as possible. Thank goodness Indiana basketball on a West Coast road swing. Good for them. They get out of this. They're heading to Los Angeles, man. They get to hang out in L.A. for a few days because they play UCLA and USC. So they get out of the cold, which is nice. Very nice. Good for them.
Big
what did I say we
night.
were going to talk about? Oh, yeah, huge. I mean, that win does so much for them in so many different ways. It for one thing, it opens up their hopes. It keeps their hopes alive for making the NCAA tournament. They kind of had their hopes were really, really waning, and they're still not. I wouldn't call them in right now, but beating Purdue, a number 13 Purdue, there is definite hope, and it keeps you in the conversation of making it in. But they have to add another, maybe 2 more solid wins, and they can come at home, but they're also going to have to beat some teams on the road. And I'm not talking about Illinois or Michigan or teams like that, but they cannot lose to a Minnesota, which they opened up Big Ten play with that loss on the road. You're going to have to beat somebody on the road. And they did with Rutgers. They handled them very well, as a matter of fact. And that's, they have to beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. And this season, there are teams that they're not supposed to beat. And I get that, but if they can do that and then steal another win or two, good solid win, they're in, which would be surprised. I would.
Well, they're shooting
a good showing.
They started hitting some shots that they were frequently missing in the previous weeks or so, and that always helps. The biggest thing is they're just kind of a mismatch down low, and that's just, it is what it is in that respect. So that's always a concern when they got big men, but they battled Purdue's big man inside for that entire game. So again, it was a gritty performance, and like you said, it sends them out to the West Coast with a lot of confidence, especially when you're fighting to make the dance. And that's always, sometimes that's a great thing, that you got something there in front of you that you're fighting for, especially at this time of year, because there's just not that many opportunities left.
Yeah, and that you used a great word there, fighting. They're going to have to fight to make it in, and getting a win or two against a team like Purdue, that's what I'm talking about. You have to fight for that, because they're not in at the moment. They're not even. Let's see, where's the first team out is Seton Hall. Texas is the last team in. I wonder if they would show all of those, but yeah. Anyway, we know what it takes. We know what it takes. You just got to get a few wins against teams, and if you don't, it's really simple. It's just like Chevy said, it's no big deal if you miss it. When we lose.
Yeah.
Talking about the last putt in Caddyshack.
That's right.
Yeah, it's no big deal. Well, if you miss it, we lose.
Yeah,
No
I know.
pressure.
I know that you were going to bring up the schedule for this season, is what you planned on, I think, next. As
Absolutely.
we were kind of teasing it there a little bit. And
Yeah, I mean, they've got Ohio State and Michigan back to back. That's the first thing that stands out. It's I think it is a really good schedule. People are not, again, I don't want to hear the crap about who they play in their non-con games. Who cares? I don't care.
Yeah, it's
about
irrelevant.
those first 3 games, man. It's ridiculous. But they open up with North Texas. North Texas flirted with being the G5 representative in the CFP last year.
Right.
And you've got former Tennessee, Indiana, and Central Florida quarterback Taven Jackson coming in as their starting quarterback, which is very ironic for his career to come full circle and to start the final season of his career back in Indiana, but not playing for them. But they play then they play the Howard Bison, which they should crush them. I mean, that's a practice game. Western Kentucky, not exactly, that's a pretty good program.
Yeah,
As a
not
matter of
chop
fact,
liver.
Isn't that where Stephen Daly came from? Somebody came
Hosta
from
Wheeler.
Hosea Wheeler. Okay, came from Western Kentucky. But then Northwestern. So their first 4 games, they're going to continue 2 streaks that they lead right now. They have the nation's longest home winning streak and the nation's winning streak period. They're going to extend both of those by 4 more games at a minimum.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Northwestern looks like this year. Chip Kelly's there as the offensive coordinator now, and they had a pretty good year last year. So it'll be interesting to see what Northwestern brings to the table. And again, that'll be a challenging first Big Ten game to start the year off. But the beauty of it is it's at home. So, but I do think their non-conference schedule is, it's not overly challenging, but I do think
Western Kentucky was 9-4 last year, by the way.
Right. And both of those teams are not, it's not like they're not capable of beating a P4 team. They're quite capable of beating a P4
here
team.
you go. Western Kentucky lost 13-10 at LSU.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You just, those teams, and I remember when Western Kentucky came in a few years back now and gave Indiana all they could give them because they had that quarterback, and I can't remember his name. He threw for a bunch of yards. But again, those G5 teams that you just mentioned there, North Texas and Western Kentucky, are good G5 schools that Indiana will play.
Yeah, last year, North Texas, 12-2, finished a 3-way tie at 7-1 with Tulane and Navy. Tulane, who ended up getting a CFP berth. So they were right there, man. Of course, They don't have Metzebaker, the quarterback, but they've got Taven Jackson, who is a freaking 4-year journeyman who has played at some good places and obviously is a solid quarterback.
Yeah, and that coach did what Sig did. He took a number of North Texas players to Oklahoma State. So it'll be interesting to see if Oklahoma State has a big turnaround this year with the number of guys that he has brought in. I think he's brought in over 60 guys. Now, not all of those are North Texas guys, but he does have a big group of North Texas players with him at Oklahoma State. So it'll be interesting to see how that fares out.
Not only that, so after that 4-game little, including Northwestern at home there, so that's a 4-game nice little. You open the first month of the entire season, you're at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's half of your home games, knowing that now after that you have 8 more games to play, but 4 of those are still going to be at home. So
yeah,
Indiana's got its schedule set up now. That I think will eventually change if the Big Ten goes to the P4 requirement. But we'll see. Doesn't matter. So, but after that 4-game stretch, then things get a little interesting Indiana will have to, let's see, I want to get on the right one. Oh, daggone, I think I already passed it. Because they go to, then they go to Rutgers. So now you're looking at what should be a 5-0 start. An easy 5-0 start. I hate to say that. Not easy, but 5-0.
Yeah.
This team should start 5-0 without question. As looking at their record. Then you've got a 4-game stretch, at least 3 of those out of that 4. Before you get the one and only bye you get. There's one bye next season, people, and it's just because of how the calendar fell, I believe.
Yeah.
There's not a requirement for 2 byes. It's how the calendar sets up. There's just one bye next season, and that doesn't come until after their 9th game or their 7th game.
Yeah, it's later. Yeah.
So 5, 6, no, after their 9th game. So they're going to go 9 straight games before they get a bye. But the last 4 games they play before that starts at Nebraska. Now, tough place to play. I still see Indiana being a better team. We don't even know what Nebraska is going to be like. They lost their quarterback, and Matt Rule has not exactly been lighting the world on fire there. So I think that should be a 6-0 run for Indiana at that point. Then things get a little hairy. They'll welcome in the Ohio State Buckeyes. Man, and Ohio State will be loaded. They've got their quarterback returning, who was a Heisman finalist last season. You know they're going to be loaded, coach, with everything they need. And Indiana is going to have their own home sold-out crowd without the Ohio State people. And, man, this is going to put Indiana to the test here, because Ryan Day, if he were to lose to Indiana yet again, the loser of this game, by the way, I think gets knocked out of the race for the Big Ten championship game. That's not a guarantee, but it does 2 things. Indiana will have the tiebreaker over Ohio State already, and it puts Ohio State at hands them a loss that who's to say that Oregon can't go through their schedule undefeated or whatever.
Right.
But that will put them at a very great disadvantage for getting back to the Big Ten championship game, which they have not won since 2020. And I know they won a national championship last season, but the fans are going to be a little up in arms about Ryan Day.
Yeah, Ohio State is never satisfied. It's just the way
can't
it
be.
is. Just the way it
You
is.
accept it? That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, let's take a quick break. Up next, Matt Taylor's going to join me. Coach, appreciate you.
Absolutely, partner. See you tonight.
Have a great day and a great rest of your weekend.
Absolutely. 7:30 tonight. We'll see you then.
7:30 tonight. Who's your tailgate? Appreciate you. We've got more coming up. Matt Taylor, the voice of the Colts, joins us next, back with all of that and more right after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on the Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Looking for a place to have fun with the family, friends, or both? Head to Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Dave & Buster's has a wide array of games for everyone, and Sunday is fun day, half off of all games. There are $10 wings, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas for mom and dad watching the IU games on Dave & Buster's giant wall TVs and flat screens. Head out to the new Dave & Buster's by College Mall in Bloomington. Eat, drink, play. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Glad to have you along, and hopefully you're staying warm. The voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor, joins us now. And Matthew, the Super Bowl is set, man, and the Patriots have, you don't have to like it. Nobody around here likes it, but you got to respect it, man. I mean, Drake May leads this team back to the Super Bowl. It's pretty amazing to see that.
No question about it. He's set to be, the third youngest quarterback in the history of the NFL. And you're right. I mean, they're getting it back without Belichick, without Brady, without some of these cast of character guys. They're back in the Super Bowl for the first time since 2018. So, like you said, the rivalry and the bad blood probably still exists here to a degree in Indianapolis. A lot of people don't like the fact that the Patriots are back, but they are back, and they're playing some really good football, and it's all about the identity from Mike Vrabel.
And how about that? I mean, that's another great thing to see. It's not often that we see players that were really, really good. That Mike Vrabel was an awesome player. Well, now look what he's doing as a coach. It doesn't always translate great player to great coach, but man, here's one instance where it is.
Yeah, without a question. And same thing with the Seahawks too. I mean, I think what you have to sort of take into account now is what are you going to get and how much respect do you have to be, or have to show, I should say, for this component of quarterback resurgence. You know, guys like Sam Darnold and Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield, and hopefully to a degree we see it continue to happen here with the Colts with Daniel Jones. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still think that quarterback evaluation in the draft is tough. There's a lot of, just a lot of guessing, and at the end of the day, these guys are prospects. I think teams now are going to be a little bit safer in their evaluation of these pre-existing quarterbacks, guys that have shown it to a degree in the NFL, production on Sundays, right? Even though they don't have, maybe have stubbed their toe a little bit to a degree with teams in the NFL, they still have, a body of work and a resume that has had success in the NFL, like the Daniel Joneses of the world, where if they go to the right situation with the right offensive coordinator, right head coach, right cast of characters around them, you can make it work. And I think we're seeing that. So, I mean, is Sam Darnold the same quarterback now as he was, 5-6 years ago with the Jets? Absolutely not. But it just goes to show you that's the toughest position in sports to evaluate and to play. Everybody develops and grows on their own timeline. And, just because, Sam Darnold was drafted top 5 and, didn't work out with the Jets doesn't mean he's a bust and can't continue to get better. And he has shown that throughout the course of his career. And from an individual standpoint, I'm really happy for guys like that have kind of changed the perception of the narrative on their career and has now had success with his, 4th or 5th different team, and now is playing at the highest level on the highest stage in the Super Bowl, man. It's awesome for guys like that.
Absolutely. And that leads me right into a perfect segue into this question. The Las Vegas Raiders are expected to take Fernando Mendoza as the number 1 pick in the draft. And that's a situation where that's a team that didn't have a great season. It's a team that also does not even have a head coach right now. And I wonder, are they waiting to try to find a coach that they think fits with the guy that they're expecting to draft at number one at quarterback? Or I mean, I know you don't know this, but they're kind of on the clock because most of the hires have been made.
Well, yeah, it's certainly a tough question because it's sort of like, what do you prioritize first? Is it, your talent evaluation, looking at the, being a part of the interview process with potential head coaches and saying, here's who we like, here's who we're going to draft. How would you make it fit for this guy? Or is it you're interviewing head coaches and saying, hey, we need a quarterback. Which of these quarterbacks do you like the best? And how would you make it work with guy A? How would you make it work with guy B? So they're probably using a mixture of both of those processes, if I have to imagine. But I also can't imagine that there's anybody would want more than Fernando Mendoza when it comes to these quarterback evaluations this year in the draft. And Jim, as you know, you've been in the game long enough. You understand the fact that quarterbacks always get pushed up the board, right or wrong. They always get pushed up the board. But I think as it relates to, this particular case, Fernando Mendoza is probably the best player in this draft because of being the best quarterback in the draft. And just from an intangible standpoint, because that's really what it is, right? To have success early on in the NFL, you got to be able to play, you got to be able to spin it and have accuracy and things like that. But if you're going to be a young quarterback in the NFL and have success early on, it's because of your intangibles, your character, your work ethic, your drive, your commitment to your teammates and things like that. And those are the things that Daniel Jones has. And those are the things that I think Fernando Mendoza is going to translate from IU, just, watching from afar and being able to gather what I've been able to see from the young man. So I think those things are going to translate up, if you will, from college football to the NFL. Just his passion and the accountability that he's going to hold himself to, and just sort of be a guy that is a gravitational pull and force to bring others around him to galvanize that locker room and be a leader to the extent that you can be as a rookie, having never played a game in the NFL prior to 2026.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. The combine is coming up soon here in Indianapolis. What's that run? February 4th through March 3rd.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more Indiana players will be there this year, Matt, more so than maybe any time ever.
Yeah, no, I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, you just go through, I mean, you know it better than I do, but you go through that offense. I mean, Kalon Black can play, Hemby can play, a couple offensive linemen, Coogan can play. There's no question about that. Mendoza can play. Surratt's going to play in the league. Cooper's going to play in the league. On defense, I think Kamara can play. Fisher's going to go. I think obviously Pond is a very draftable player. And then you look at undrafted free agency, EJ Williams, probably looking at maybe a late round pick, undrafted guy. But there's a ton of value within, that roster as it translates to the NFL. I mean, some of these guys don't get picked up as draft picks. They're going to get huge bang for your buck. Teams are going to get huge bang for their buck, given the amount of time on task and experience they got playing in some high-level football games in the month of January for IU football.
Yeah, D'Angelo Pons has been one of those that has been talked about. He's kind of undersized, but this dude is like a little bag of TNT. That hit he put on the tight end. Right? Boy, I'm telling you, he's like Velcro. I mean, I call him Velcro. He's just on you. Not only that, though, he can hit. He laid the tight end out in that championship game, just put a great blow. But yeah, he just does things that it's like he has instincts. He doesn't get beat very often, and he's just a great athlete to watch. But that's something he's going to have to overcome to make it in the league.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Like, you've been doing it at a high level in, you play teams like Alabama and Miami and Oregon in this college football run. Like, there's enough tape right there to show that you can overcome your size and your stature, right? I mean, like, I just sort of equate it to the Colts. being around Chris Ballard and his staff for as long as I have, I think they kind of stick truth to the traits. For every position, you have to meet height and reach and speed measurables, right? That gets your foot in the door. But if you don't, you have to have like an overcompensating quality, right? You have to have great speed if you're undersized, or you have to play with incredible force and physicality if you're deficient in some of these areas. And I think for Pons, the only thing that's going to keep him off of people's draft boards higher than maybe where he should is just that height. But you turn on the tape, I mean, he plays through all of that because he overcompensates it for high football IQ, great physicality, and great instincts going after the football.
Yeah, for what it's worth, Mel Kiper Jr.'s got him at number 5 DB, and I'm like, that's pretty good because DBs are
and right coveted. There, that gets you no worse than into the second round, beginning of the third round, right? That's a pretty good payday right there.
And that's the thing. I mean, you look at Curtis Rourke. What did he get drafted? Probably the 6th round last year or something like that. He's number 3 on the depth chart of 49ers right now.
Yep. Right. Yeah, it's the draft is always just fascinating to me. We cover the draft every year, and there's things about college football and the draft that really don't make a whole lot of sense, right? You can look at the number 3 wide receiver for Texas Tech that has 700 yards. I'm just making up this example, but like a guy that played at a Power 4, Power 5 program. That played against that competition week in, week out, every Saturday, that put up pretty respectable numbers. A guy like that can't get a sniff, but then you've got this other kid from Coastal Carolina that really didn't produce at a very high level and didn't play a Power 4 football schedule, but he gets an undrafted free agent look and then turns into, a guy that's producing 800, 900 yards every year in the NFL, even though he didn't do it in college, right? It's just, I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Sometimes it works in reverse the other way. But, I think it's the jobs of all of these NFL scouts to go find guys with traits that they think can translate to the NFL, and they find them. If you're out there, they're going to find you, right? I mean, we don't live in, tape cut-ups anymore. Everything is digital and every game's on TV. So if you make 1 or 2 splash plays or, you look good filling out your uniform, they're going to find out more about you and find out who you are and see if you can play in the NFL.
Well, in the NFL, the biggest story right now in the NFL is coming out of Canton, Ohio, where Bill Belichick, again, nobody's a Patriots fan in this region. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite. But I promise you, hardly none of them would disagree with the fact that he should have been a first-round Hall of Famer. It's unbelievable that there was some petty stuff going on. And for someone mentioned that about Bill Polian, it's been proven that he voted for Bill Belichick. That's per the Hall of Fame. So don't hearing that crap anymore. That's not it. But I guarantee you, I want to know who's going to be the first person to admit I did not vote for Bill Belichick, because we have not seen that yet.
Well, there's 2 things here, in my opinion. The first thing is, what kind of Hall of Fame do we have? Okay, because I think every guy who gets voted upon or deliberated on, there's going to be pros and cons as to whether or not they should go in ever or go in now, right? For Bill Polian, it's the Spygate stuff and the cheating scandals, and that's probably where the politics got him, which is ridiculous because the guy's been a part of 8 Super Bowls, 6 as a head coach, which will never be duplicated ever again. So what kind of Hall of Fame do we have where that guy is not a first ballot Hall of Famer? That's number one. Number two, have you looked at the committee and how it's comprised? There are 50 committee members that vote for the Hall of Fame. Jim, there are 4. There's only 4 members of that group of 50 that either played or coached. That makes no sense to me. All due respect to the media, because I think they do a good job, and I think they know what they're looking at, and I think they have great appreciation for the game. I'm not I'm not what. Don't get it confused. I'm not saying I want a committee full of former players and coaches, but we need more than four. We need more than four guys that completely understand. If you didn't play or you didn't coach, if you didn't play or coach, you can't fully tell me what it's like to actually go through the grind of what it takes to be a Pro Football Hall of Fame player or coach. You don't know how hard it is. You can't fully understand it and put it into perspective. All due respect to the Mike Chappells of the world and the Dan Grazianos and the Mary Kay Cabotts. You just, unless you played or coached, you can't fully understand it. And we need more than four people on the committee out of 50 that can put those things into perspective. That is what blows my mind about all of this.
Yeah, and it is ridiculous. And I saw J.J. Watt yesterday on that. He was pissed off. And I mean, literally he was. And he said, I want to know who voted against him because they should not have a vote in this. And
yeah, it seems pretty petty. It really does.
It really is. So what's up next for you, brother? I know what you guess preparing for the combine because that's coming up pretty soon. I know it's still almost a month away, but a lot of prep goes into that.
Yeah, we are. We're getting ready for that. Excuse me. And we're kind of putting the finishing touches on the season here. And we got, daily and weekly programming that we're still producing for Colts Radio and for Colts Digital, things that appear on Colts.com. So we always stay busy as far as those things go. So we always urge people to check those out on radio on our flagship station in Indianapolis, 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan, and then Colts.com and the Colts podcast channel digitally, anywhere you get your Colts podcasts. We got you covered there. But yeah, next big thing is the combine. Believe it or not, as soon as the Super Bowl is over, we kind of immediately turn the chapter towards 2026. So like a week and a half later, here comes the combine. 2 weeks after that, you got NFL free agency, and then the draft will be here as soon as you know it. So, I mean, the NFL never sleeps. They like it like that. They never completely go away. They never completely step out of your subconscious of your sports mind. So always something to do, always something to talk about, generating content year in and year out, or I should say all year long. And it's just what we do, man. We get paid to talk sports.
Yes, and you do it well. Make sure you're keeping up with all the year-round content for the Colts as preparing for the upcoming season and preparing for the upcoming combine as well. As hopefully we'll be there broadcasting, as I know that Matt will. But brother, I can't thank you enough as always. I really appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure, man. Have a great weekend. Stay warm.
You too, buddy. Have fun with the family. Matt Taylor joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, as he does. And great to talk to Matt. He's always locked in, knows all the ins and outs, baby, of what's going on the NFL side of things, not just with the Colts. But, yeah, make sure you catch their content. It doesn't stop. It's year-round, and they are always putting out great information. And there's going to be a lot for, if you're a Hoosier fan, to pay attention to. Because, as I said, there is going to be probably a record number of Indiana Hoosiers football players at this year's combine. And whether they get drafted or not, become an undrafted free agent, how many times do we see guys that are able to navigate that path and end up on an NFL roster? A lot. Whether you're on the practice squad or you actually make the squad, getting in there, you're starting to put yourself in, what's it need, 3 years or 4 years to get vested into the NFL retirement? That's huge. I mean, that is huge. But yeah, let's see. Brian questioning about Bill Polian, that just because the Hall of Fame said he voted for him, that that's I guess not enough proof, and ask if they said who didn't vote. No, they didn't. They are not going to as an organization. They're not going to, because they have a soft request to voters to not release their votes. But it's not like hey, you have to do this. I think in this case, the votes need to be released. Or if you didn't vote for him, that's fine. Stand up for your belief. Tell us, hey, here's who I voted for and why. But you're going to have to say, but why didn't I not vote for the most qualified person on the damn ticket? You have to explain that. You are fortunate enough to have a vote on a huge, huge honor. When it comes to the sport of football, the biggest sport in America, NFL football, is the biggest sport in America. And it is starting to spread out in other countries, but regardless of that, it's our biggest sport. And the Hall of Fame for the biggest sport should be the biggest Hall of Fame. Not sure that that's the case with baseball, but doesn't matter. Release the votes. Why does it need to be secret? Why? That's why the AP poll every week, boom, you can see who did what. And I love that. I gave a friend of mine is a TV sports reporter down in Lexington. And he was voting Indiana too low, and I saw it. I'm like, dude, you're missing the boat on this. And later in the year, he had him voted like number one or whatever, and he sent me a text. He goes, yeah, you were right. But that's different than this. I can see that more when it comes to the top 25 because people that are, if you're not around teams, just watching them on TV or hearing about them, that's not enough. You got to see it. I'm a Heisman voter. We're not supposed to release our votes until the Heisman ceremony is completed. I never did release my votes. I will. I mean, I'll tell you, I voted for Mendoza at number one. But it's because he deserved it. But these votes need to be released because the people that did not vote for Belichick there has to be pettiness and jealousy. And you don't belong on a panel that votes for this because you're letting personal matters come into play. And that's not, it specifically states these are your vote. This vote is about what they have done, pure and simple, their accomplishments. It actually seems to be laid out better than baseball. Personal things are not supposed to come into play here. Now, that could be argued about the thing I said about baseball, but regardless of this, I want to know who was the dumb butts. They do. They need to have their votes taken away. Was this media people? There's 50 voters. That's another thing. There's a lot more Heisman voters. Heisman voters are made sure that each region of the country is equally represented. But I'd like to know the people that did not vote for him, and it. By the numbers, it's around 11. Could have been 12, could have been 13, but it had to be a minimum of 11 that did not vote for him. And we all want to know. I wonder if it'll come out. I wonder if someone can get that. Yeah. I'll be looking forward to it. That'll give us something fun to talk about. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? We could spend a whole day just railing on one of those people individually, but especially depending on who they are, what they do. What is their connection? Are they a media member? There's other people. I think former players, a few Hall of Fame inductees. People like Bill Polian. Just let's see it, man. Let's see it. Tomorrow, hey, big fun tomorrow. Al Unser Jr. gonna join us. We'll talk IndyCar racing. We'll talk football. I saw he was a big fan supporting the Hoosiers as they were heading toward their national championship. But I love IndyCar racing. Last year, wow, Alex Palou. I can't imagine how much he dominated that series last year. But wow, have a former Indy winner, and not only that, a racing family that is one of the Unsers, one of the great families of auto racing history. Amazing. I should have told Bob today when he was on with us that Al's going to be on tomorrow. But that looking forward to that. Alec Lasley, of course, and Zach Osterman as well. Friday night, Michigan goes to Michigan State for a battle. And then on Sunday, Nebraska heads to Illinois. Man, those are some big-time games for us to keep an eye on. Looking forward to those as well. Well, I hope everyone had a great day. Appreciate you so much. What's next for you? Are you going to go out and have a good time? Are you going to shovel some snow? Tonight, on the sports schedule, I can't get my, there we go. Couldn't get my mouse to move around. But tonight on, I hit the wrong, there we go. Today's Thursday. Got the wrong day. Got to get over to the Big Ten Conference so I can see who's playing in the Big Ten tonight. Only 2 games in the league. Penn State at Northwestern. There's a snoozer. Washington at Illinois. Number 9, Illinois. Late game. Man, Washington playing at 9 o'clock Eastern. Which, yeah, that's 6 o'clock for them, I guess. I wonder who they play next. They're on an East Coast swing. So, they play Northwestern next. Then they might as well stay here. No, yeah. They're going to stay back here for a 3-game swing, it looks like. They play Illinois, Northwestern, and then Iowa within a 5-day period. I can't imagine that they go back home. So there's that. Well, I appreciate everybody. Go out and have yourselves a great day. We're back tomorrow to do it again. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will stay tuned for Glass. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.